Welcome to the Real CP Show. I am your host, CP. And today's topic, this major Burkina Fasoan convicted coup leader, immigration violator that was in the U.S. for a while, was finally deported. Sharing of skin phenotype does not mean they share kin phenotype. See, the thing about it is, for numbers of years, Black Americans have been told that you must call yourself Africans. Even though Africa is a continent made up of 50 plus countries and hundreds and hundreds of languages, hundreds and hundreds of tribes, when many of them don't even call themselves Africans themselves. They go by tribes first, nationality first. You say, hey, won't you just call yourself Africans and practice Pan-Africanism? They'll do this to the personnel. They'd be like, you don't go somewhere with that. Don't you dare call us Africans. They'd be like, because you silly Negroes act like that. You don't want to have your own distinction to what applies to. This is why certain people are getting mad at certain numbers of Black Americans who are finally saying Black Americans don't know about an explanation of why they need to sit there and have their own lineage. Do you understand? On that part, you got 50 plus countries, 50 different own type of governmental thoughts and the way they do things. And northern part of Africa, various part of Africa ain't jumping up and down trying to see what East Africans are doing. Numbers of East Africans are not jumping up and down seeing what West Africans are doing. Numbers of West Africans are not jumping up and down seeing what Central Africans are doing. Central Africans are not jumping down seeing what South Africans are doing. Numbers of South Africans not jumping around to seeing. You get the point, right? But something about they think Black Americans so freaking stupid as a collective that they supposed to call themselves Africans. Well, if we actually want to play that little tactic, before there was Greece, before there was Rome, there was no such thing as a word called African. If we want to play that tactic, if we really want to go there, when Black Americans were easily over in America in the 1600s, many parts of Africa weren't even Africa. There was no Nigeria in the 1800s. There was no Ghana in the 1800s like that. There was no Senegal in the 1800s like that. So Black Americans had already set their own unique foundation in America before many of these countries even became nation states in Africa. But for some reason, Black Americans are told they just call themselves Africans. We need to get out of here with that silly tactic. But then you ask the question, these various personnel in various African places, the ones it applies to, these fleers, once it applies to, certain sections of the beautiful Caribbean, places applies to, because there's no Pan-Caribbean love, by the way. Look what's going on in Haiti. Where's I like Pan-Caribbean love to help them out? Quietness. So how a person that have fled from those places, the ones it applies to, not some of the good brothers and sisters from those places. So we're not going to play that tactic, right? But some of those numbers of fleers, which is collective fleers and attachers and stuff like that, they have not fled, but they're attachers trying to see what Black Americans are doing and fixing out. Not to try to talk about Black Americans, but they can't fix their own tribe problems, ethnicity problems. But you say, hey, what are you going to do to help Black Americans since you think Black Americans are supposed to help hire other people out? What are you going to do about that? That's what they do, right? That's what they do. Now watch this. In this topic, what you think numbers of Pan-African is going to sit there and help this kind of African person, this black African person out? You think they care about this kind of versions? Huh? You think they don't care about this version? With an Africa like this? They be like, oh no, 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 don't associate me with that kind of African. No, 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 no. We don't associate us with that version. But again, they keep trying to tell black Americans, y'all call yourself Africans, get out of here. Right? Like in this topic. So black Americans supposed to say, yeah, we'll associate with this one, this coup leader for Burkina Faso. When you got Traore, who is the leader of Burkina Faso now, when you like, where's all these many other countries around Africa jumping up and down with him? Where's the Pan-Africanism with him? Quiet. You see how that goes, right? But let's go ahead and share my screen on this part. Today is May the 9th, 2026. ICE New York removes convicted coup leader to Burkina Faso. But defund ICE, right? So don't worry about this violent inhumanists that have the skin of black phenotype, right? But don't give a dang about black American kin phenotype. You understand that, right? But defund ICE. And by the way, you think people talking about defund ICE, you think they care anything about this little version of Negro, version of a different variant? You think they care about this one? No. They're talking about certain type of Hispanicism, one that they trying to protect. Oh, you want to talk about, and certain numbers of Asian concepts that they're trying to protect. Once applies to. Do you understand the game? When you got numbers of Asians, don't even care about other Asians. You certainly have numbers of Hispanics, don't care about no other Hispanics. But when it comes down to it, it's about pushing out black Americans as much as they can. It's some other groups. See how that game goes. That they said the Negroes in America overall have no clue. New York, ICE removed a convicted Burkina Faso something coup leader from the U.S. to Burkina Faso on April 22nd, 2026, pursuant to a final order removal from an immigration judge. During immigration proceedings, the court found Zachariah Santua, something 40 years old, was ineligible for immigration benefits, border breaker legal immigrant, because he participated in the attempted September 16, 2015 coup d'etat in Burkina Faso while he was a member of the Presidential Security Regiment. But Pan-Africanism, right? During the attempted coup, a rogue group of RSP members held hostage the interim president and prime minister and foreigners on protesters, right? Pan-Africanism, right? Resulted in the unalivement of an estimated 11 people and injuring more than 100. Although Sangatua fled like a little coward, like many of these fleers do, but had the nerve to sit there and run from their little tribalism, corrupt problems, then come to America, they had the nerve to talk about black Americans. The nerve of these dang fleers. He fled Burkina Faso before trial. He was convicted in absentia of unalivementness, of murder, assault and battery, and an attack on state security, and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Sangatua's role in the violent 2015 effort to overthrow Burkina Faso's gov, which included holding national leader hostage and unaliving and injured protesters of his own people, right? They said, no. We're tribes first. Oh, we tribes first. Oh, you're not Africans first, right? No, we're tribes first. All right. Reflects a grave disregard for human life and the rule of law, said ICE enforcement, such and such entity, such and such. Individuals who engage in such bloodshed anywhere in the world have no place in U.S., such and such ERO, New York, with essential support from Homeland Security, such and such, human rights violators, and War Crime Center. Any interesting quietness of these war crime center personnel on the atrocities of various numbers of personnel within the Panamese culture that are still alive in higher places that committed nothing but genocidal anti-Black Americanism and war criminality. Whereas all these same freaking people talking about that? Quietness. Because they say those dumb, bleep Negroes sitting there don't even understand these war crimes being put upon Black Americans on a daily basis. You still got people that are war criminality, internal U.S. ICE, still in the U.S. They may be a lot older now, but at the same time, you try to play minimizing games with talking about war criminals that fled from certain sections of Israelness and other places. They still sitting there trying to find where these people are at in the U.S. But you start talking about anti-Black American war criminals that still infestated in various parts of America, they're like they don't see nothing. You see how that game goes. The case was investigated by such an entity, Documented Benefit Fraud Task Force, supported by Human Rights Violators and War Crime Center, established in 2008. The Human Rights Violators and War Crime Center furthers the Gov's efforts to identify, locate, and prosecute human rights abuses in the U.S., but they don't want to sit there and prosecute these kind of personnel within certain parts of Panamese culture who consistently war crime their effort toward Black Americans. What about, however, politicalness and people out there who are still alive? They may be older. Where's the war crime accusations against them? What about still people who still involve themselves in the KKK mentality? What about them? What about the insane, inhumane laws and policies put upon Black Americans in that form of war criminality by the people who sit there and did that? Huh? They said Negroes, boy, don't understand nothing overall about the bigger picture. What's going on? Including those who are known or suspected to have participated in persecution, war crimes, genocide, torture, extrajudicial unalignment, female genital manipulation. Of course, don't worry about the males, the young males who get robbed on daily basis in different places and countries, males that get robbed in this country in various types of facilities. Don't worry about stuff like that. And the use of recruitment of child soldiers. Oh, don't worry about the male child soldiers that get grabbed up on a daily basis in various parts of Africa and other places. Don't you worry about that part. You see how that goes. I'm telling you, man, they look at Black Americans as overall as silly. The number one people who have the most hate crimes put upon them in America is Black Americans. The number one people who have more hate crime laws put upon them in policies is Black Americans. But you don't hear no people talking about human rights violators. We got to look forward to those people in the U.S. who have done all these different things to Black Americans and still currently. What about we sit there and look toward these various types of bad seed enforcement type departments who have violated human rights violators toward Black Americans still going on right now? Huh? What about the political figures out there who have said some anti-American Black hate crime terminology and stuff like that? What about them? Human rights violators toward Black Americans on that? Huh? What about all that? Well, the U.S. is filled with human rights violators, are filled with anti-American Black hatred. Whereas the human rights violations trying to investigate those type people. Quietness. I'm done. I'm done. So the thing about it is the insulting part that Black Americans are told to say do Pan-Africanism as their Black Americans they're not their own unique culture. One or more Black Americans are going to stand a freak up and start saying Black Americans are their own unique culture and do not owe nobody no explanation. You don't tell numbers of people in Africa, why do you need tribes and tribalism, ethnicity? Just call yourself Africans. Nobody tells numbers of people, Caribbeans, stop calling yourself by your islands names. Call yourself Caribbean and leave it at that. They be like, don't you dare. We are in the Caribbean, but we are our own uniqueness. When are more Black Americans gonna stand a freak up Stop allowing people to dictate what Black America should be. That's an insult to the American Black ancestors. But at the same time, again, Black Americans supposed to sit there and associate and call themselves Pan-Africanism. I guess share a phenotype with someone like this coup d'etat violator, border breaker. This is what Black Americans supposed to associate themselves with, because he has a shared phenotype, but he's not a kin phenotype. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show.